Pick your rivalry week game, and you could see a fight. We saw at Ohio State and Michigan a skirmish as Michigan tries to plant the flag right there at midfield. A couple of flags come out, and a fight or three, and skirmishes ensue. Police in that game had to deploy pepper spray, or did they have to? But pepper spray was deployed on the field as Michigan players are pepper sprayed on the field. Arizona State blows out Arizona 49-7. The Aztecs bring out the pitchfork and try to put it at midfield, and that starts a skirmish. Then you have Florida State and Florida, and the Gators are bringing out a Florida flag, and you see Mike Norvell snatch it from somebody. He throws it on the ground. Have we seen the end of the era of flag planting when rivals clash and the home team loses?
Now, you had both Michigan and Ohio State fine $100,000 for their role in what turned really ugly. NC State, North Carolina. You had an NC State player, or maybe it was a North Carolina player, pick up the NC State flag, launch it like it was a javelin.
That was where was that game played?
I guess it was in Chapel Hill. I would have to assume that would be the anger, because if you plant the flag on your own field, I don't think anybody can really get angry. NC State has the flag chucked off to the sideline. They're fighting. The Michigan one got really ugly, and I'm sorry, pepper spraying football players.
I have no problem with that happening.
I 100% have a problem.
It's like being in a gladiator war movie and having no protection on your body. Except pepper spray.
It was not a war.
It was absolute chaos, dude. Are you joking me? They're telling everybody to stop. They're blowing whistles. They're yelling and screaming. And people are jumping in piles and grabbing people's helmets and swinging around and punching and kicking. What do you expect them to do?
We saw that at Florida State, Florida. We saw it at Arizona State, Arizona.
It okay.
It doesn't make it okay. My point is,
those guys felt,
nobody else got pepper spray.
They felt a certain way in that moment.
One of the linebackers from Michigan,
because you feel a certain way.
One of the linebackers from Michigan is literally trying to break the fight up and just gets right in the face.
Yeah.
There were reporters down on the field that are getting
the innocent
pummeled.
The innocent
they're also getting splashed and people getting stomped and trampled and kicked and punched.
Trampled.
Did you not see people swinging arms and pushing guys and flying to the ground?
I've never in my life seen pepper spray.
350-pound monsters with pads on and helmets.
Right.
And you're in there trying to break it up, and nobody's listening to one word you're saying?
Because it's fighting between 300-pound
So it's okay.
behemoths.
Everybody just fight. Go ahead.
Well,
we'll just let it go. We're not going to stop it ever.
Who was airlifted out of there because of the brawling football?
Nobody's airlifted, dude.
That's the point.
So it's because nobody got airlifted
fighting on a field after a game for 3 minutes. You sound ridiculous.
Those guys felt fear, literally fear.
You can't do things because you feel afraid. Somebody has to be doing something to you.
That was being done to them. All around them.
Got meatheads.
Stop what you're doing. Nobody's listening to one word.
So you pepper spray.
Helmets are flying.
You pepper spray the innocent.
If they're not going to listen to what's happening, you have that on your person for a reason.
What about the innocent?
What about what innocent?
The people who weren't.
All the people that were down there working, that were trying to get interviews, and they're getting
out of the way.
Oh, now they got stuff to do. This sounds.
You got to get out of the way.
This sounds.
Well, how about the police just get out of the way and let the kids fight and be done? And
be
let
over in 5
That's
minutes.
the answer. Just let everybody. Let chaos
let's
ensue.
pepper spray kids.
You guys are joking, right?
No, are you joking?
I'm not joking at all.
We just named 5 other places where the same thing was going on and nobody got pepper sprayed.
It was a different situation, I guess, for those guys.
Yeah, that one cop
This was the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, my God.
And you guys are...
Go back and watch South Carolina and Clemson for about 8 years ago. You want to see
8
insane?
years ago, great.
No, go watch the video.
It's a situational deal. You have to make a decision in a time when you're telling people to stop doing what they're doing and not one person is listening to you.
Who's going to listen when you have 200 people?
So it's okay. So nobody's listening, so it's okay. Just keep going.
Okay,
then don't say that.
200 meatheads fighting after a football game, and nobody is listening for 3 minutes.
It's not a gang war.
Right.
Okay.
Those happen.
They look more like a gang war than a football fight.
Let's start pepper spraying baseball players when they fight. Let's start pepper spraying hockey players
situation.
when they fight.
Because there is no police on a baseball field.
Are you crazy?
Yeah, there is.
Have you seen every inning change?
Inside of the fight, inside of what's going on?
Right, because it's okay to fight.
No, it's not. All the baseball players are around each other,
and that's
part of baseball. Football players with helmets and pads and 350 pounds and people flying all over the place throwing helmets and everything else is not what's supposed to happen.
So neither
baseball
is pepper
fights have been
spray
a
on
thing.
a football field.
So why weren't
when things happen that aren't supposed to happen, other things happen that aren't supposed to happen sometimes.
Or sometimes
you're trying to protect yourself and stop what's going on.
Sometimes people can overreact.
It doesn't matter. In the long run, I'm not going to. The fact that it even's going down it says a lot about the coaches of the teams that let it happen. In my opinion, Sharon Moore.
Some people don't have a problem with it.
How about goat number 1, Ryan Day, who stood off to the side with his arms crossed?
He didn't get his players. He didn't get his players off the field.
Jump into that melee.
Yeah, because his team had more fight after the game than they did during the game.
They had 4 quarters to fight.
Big, tough guys.
The defense was pretty good for
Steve Sarkisian took the opposite approach. He said that's not what they teach. That's not what they would like to see. And he didn't seem to be in favor of Texas going and grabbing flags and putting stuff on the ground. Some people, then, you had Mike Norvell grabbing a Florida flag, but here's the problem. Florida State has an area in their stadium where they go and take side from other fields. So the picture last year of Jarrett Verse with a pair of scissors cutting up the field in Florida and disrespecting their field. Now, when you get whooped, you want to throw a Florida flag on the ground. What are we doing here?
Do they do it on the emblem in the middle of the field?
Yes.
Or do they do it off to the side?
No. They go to the middle of the field and cut they call it the side cemetery.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for 4 decades.
Yes.
Okay.
Since Bobby Bowden was there.
So why is this so different now when people are playing flags?
Well, part of it because kids are sensitive. Baker Mayfield 10, 12 years ago went to the middle of Ohio Stadium and planted an Oklahoma flag.
Here is Baker Mayfield.
Nobody touched him.
Last night, he was asked after his win over Carolina in overtime about flag planting and should it come to an end or is it okay?
OU Texas does it every time they play. It's not anything special. You take your L and you move on. College football is meant to have rivalries. It's like the Big 12 banning the horns down signal. Just let the boys play.
Let the boys play.
Texas went to Michigan this year, beat the hell out of Michigan. Guess what they did after the game? They walked to midfield, took a Texas flag, and planted it.
Compare Texas and Michigan playing to what happens with Ohio State and Michigan. You just can't. There's too many.
Flag planting is going to happen.
Well, not anymore.
You think
Not in rivalry games.
That's the question. Is this the end of an era?
It's stupid. It's
Is
dumb.
it one bad week?
It's disrespectful, and certain people are going to feel a certain way, and you're going to have reactions, unfortunately. And when you have a rivalry game, when the emotions are high, not Texas, Michigan, but Ohio State, Michigan, something's going to go down.
Well, I think also, well, Sharon Moore actually went on the field and was trying to stop his players while Ryan Day
for half of what happened.
was standing there just watching things go down and did nothing.
As a head coach, should you take your headset off, walk to the fans and wave goodbye to them? Should you pull back a fake arrow and pretend to shoot it across the field at the other head coach? I mean, you talk about in the most unprofessional goofball I've seen on a college football field in a long time. Sharon Moore is that guy.